Okay, so we'll kick it off, gents. Rightio, so Frankie, thanks very much for taking the time to meet with me today. I just wanted to start by getting your perspective on a few things that are important to discuss regarding the continuing improvement of our RUF delivery. I just want to make it clear that nothing's wrong. You're not in trouble or anything. This really is just a best practice opportunity for us to provide professional development for our instructors. So I'd just like to begin by hearing your thoughts on how do you think things are going in the RUF classroom environment?
Yeah, from my perspective, I'm relatively new in the role. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's very different to what I've done previously. Haven't really worked with volunteers in this capacity previously. But no, certainly enjoying it. And I'm really enjoying having the VTAs offsiding me through this process also and assisting them and mentoring them also. So it's been good.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Can I just ask, I'm just going to be angling a little bit more here, but can you think of any situations in the classroom where we haven't maintained what we would typically call a safe and inclusive work environment?
Yeah, look, as I said before, I haven't done too much in relation to this course, but I did do a session the other night, and one of my VTAs made a comment, and I was a little bit taken back by it.
Okay.
Where he just referred to one of my participants, not by her name, but he called her Toots, and I certainly raised my eyebrows a little bit. I had a little bit of a discussion with him after the course, and said, look, maybe that's not appropriate in this context, but
okay.
Yeah, probably not a huge deal, but I certainly picked up on it.
Great. Thank you. Frankie, I'm just going to encourage a bit more detail on that. Can you just give me a little bit more of the specifics of that situation? How did the student respond to being called Toots?
Yeah, look, we were just going through a PowerPoint presentation, and I asked a few direct questions of the class, and participants were responding back to us, and it came to this young lady, and she gave this response, and my VTA just made the comment along the lines of, "Oh, that's a really good answer, Toots," and I was sort of taken a little back by it, but yeah.
Yeah, understood. Frankie, would you agree that the student probably felt confronted or threatened or even unsafe in the classroom in that situation?
Well, that's the reason why I was sort of prompted to say something about this. I certainly watched her, and she did look a little bit surprised. She's only a younger person, also, and she's probably never been spoken to like that by a member before. So
yeah, understood. Frankie, I'm just going to delve a little bit further into just some clarifying questions, and I'd just like to ask you. Just want to try something on for size. Have you got any brothers or sisters or really good lifelong friends?
Yeah, I come from a family of 6. I've got 4 sisters, all younger than me, and I also have an elder brother he's also in the fire brigade.
Okay, great. So just humour me for a moment. So let's just imagine one of your younger sisters is trying to learn this skill set of firefighting in this respond to urban environment, and they're going probably nervous. Would you agree? Probably nervous, and they're grappling, trying to understand these new concepts and all this material that's coming at them. And someone in the classroom who's their leader, their instructor, their teacher is referring to them as not their name and actually calling them, some sort of a slang word for a good-looking female. How do you reckon that'd make them feel?
Yeah, look, they'd certainly probably feel quite intimidated, given that the majority of the classroom is predominantly males. And in this instance here, she is the only female on this course. So, yeah, she probably felt somewhat uncomfortable by those comments.
Yeah, no, agreed. So you mentioned that you had a brief conversation with this VTA at the conclusion of the session. Are you comfortable that you have the tools and the knowledge to actually handle this kind of a situation with managing our safe work environment and when that's contradicted?
Yeah, look, absolutely. Look, I've been in the fire service for a little while now, mainly on shift, but working in the instructional capacity, it's very, very similar. I do have those tools, and I did think that I coped with it appropriately on the evening.
Okay, great. No problem. So, look, I'm just going to give you some further information to even give you a bit more knowledge in this space. So, given that you've come from FRV, one of the really great things that you can peruse in your own private study is the student handbook, which is accessible on the intranet, the Members Online intranet. This is a really great tool where you can very clearly get information on what's acceptable in the classroom and what our obligations are as instructors and what the obligations are of the students. That's a really great way to just keep getting that information firm in your mind. Another really great thing to look at is, and a lot of people don't realise this, is the psychosocial amendment to the Occupational Workplace Health and Safety Act. So the Australian government is taking an enormously robust stance on bullying and harassment in the classroom, and calling someone toots in a classroom environment would be a classic example of harassing someone because of their gender. So there is some fantastic information to be looked at on the WorkSafe website as well. And as I said, it's a deep read, but psychosocial injuries has become a recent amendment in the last 2 years to the Act. So you can imagine how serious it is in that context. Probably just the very last bit of information I'll give you there, Frankie, is also we have a CFA Code of Conduct. This is also accessible on Members Online, and this gives you a really clear picture as to how we can operate with integrity in the classroom. And I think, as you rightly identified with the VTA, that their comments were inappropriate, but it can also be really helpful to refer people back to these kinds of studies and this material, so they know exactly where you're coming from when you're trying to coach them into what's appropriate.